Angela Merkel wins a fourth term as Chancellor of Germany. The anti-immigration party made a very strong showing. Come in, Mr. Ambassador. John Bolton, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Seems to me, take the big picture for a second, it looks like there is no strong voice in Europe any longer. No real leadership.
Yeah, well, this has been described as a hollow victory for Chancellor Merkel, and I think that's right. The Christian Democratic vote fell by over 20%. This is the worst vote for the Christian Democrats since 1949. It isn't any better for the Socialists, the #2 party. They had their worst results since before World War II. And obviously the big news is the Alternative for Germany party, which gained something over 13%. I think this will transform the debate in the Bundestag. I think a lot of the issues Merkel was able to dodge in her previous term are now going to be hotly debated. And the Christian Democrats now face a problem. May not affect them for the next year or so, but this is clearly Merkel's last run for chancellor. So they have to come up with a succession plan, and it's far from clear what that's going to look like.
Why should we care? Why should we care about this election result in Germany?
Because I think it's part of a trend across Europe. The traditional parties are losing their dominance. I think voters are dissatisfied. I think another interesting result yesterday is the Free Democrats, sometimes called the Liberals, really 19th century liberal, very pro-free market, got over 10%, more than doubling their vote from the last election. So I think this is a signal overall that German politics has shifted to the right, not dramatically. But as I say, as the Christian Democrats and the Christian Social Union in Bavaria face the future without Merkel, I think they will move to the right as well. Over
the weekend, the Air Force flew bombers and fighter jets in international waters, but very, very close to North Korea's coastline. First time we've done that in many, many years. What do you think is the next move for the United States, having done what we just did over the weekend?
Well, I think there'll be a pause here, is my guess, for about 3 weeks. I think the president wants to see what happens with Xi Jinping at his big Communist Party conference, where Xi is going to try and consolidate power. I think everybody doesn't want to be distracted by North Korea, at least in China. So my guess is not much, but I think we're coming to the point where the president's going to have to make a decision if he's prepared to show a willingness to use force against North Korea's nuclear program.
That would be shooting down one of their missiles. That would be a show of force. That would be the next move for Oz, wouldn't it?
Well, that would be a show of force, and I think the real problem is not that we would have trouble doing that. It's what the North Korean response would be, and anticipating retaliation against the South Korea. That's the biggest concern we've always had, and the president has to plan for that. I think that would mean before we do anything like that, he's going to have to order the departure of all dependent personnel from the military, from the State Department. Hasn't done that, hasn't issued a travel warning, hasn't really redeployed a lot of American forces to the region. So I think we're still a long way from that possibility.
But that would be a signal, wouldn't it? We start saying dependents
Look, we've got
leave.
to decide. Yeah, we've got to decide, are we going to live with a nuclear North Korea? Susan Rice and the Democrats are. I don't think we should.
Do we accommodate it or do we stop it? That's the question. And I think the left wants to accommodate. Mr. Trump wants to eliminate it and stop it. I think that's it. Mr. Ambassador, thanks, as always, for joining us, John Bolton.
Thank you, Stuart.